Here we
All
are.
right, there we go. We're
We
live. We're
are.
live.
Hello, everybody. And it's
Hello.
Jennifer here, and I'm so excited. You know how I am with this stuff, but I have Katie here who works for Cross Country Mortgage. And Katie has been doing this for years. And really, in purchasing a property, you got to have the right person. So this is why I think it's very important that people tune in to listen to Katie and hear a little bit who she is and how would it go about the procedure. So Katie, please introduce yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on your live today. So, my name is Katie Stevenson. I have been a residential mortgage lender for about 19 years now. I currently work with Cross Country Mortgage. We are a national company that works with residential lending. And so you can see my info down on the bottom of the screen, my screen there.
So the number's right
And
there. So if anybody needs her, that's the
yep,
number.
that's my direct line. So that's my direct line right to me. So Cross Country, like I said, is a national residential mortgage lender, and we have about 150 plus loan programs to help pretty much anybody get into a home for so many different scenarios. First time home buyers, all the way up through whomever.
A luxury. Yeah.
So all the way up through luxury, through investors, flippers, pretty much any scenario that
Right.
I can imagine, you can imagine, we can probably help buyers get into homes. So what I usually suggest doing when you think about buying a home is to give myself a call and we'll have a conversation for about a half hour or so. And we'll talk about your income, your financial situation. We'll talk a little bit about your credit.
Okay. Can I interrupt you?
Absolutely.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
In today's world, okay, you can go online and you can just find stuff like Rocket Mortgage. Okay.
Sure.
So can I just fill out my information on Rocket Mortgage and then I'll be able to work with a realtor?
Yeah, absolutely. You certainly could do that. However, with these online lenders, you're not getting the personal local service that you would with somebody like myself. So the challenge is if, let's say, you're not very tech savvy, yes, you can enter a little bit of data online and get your pre-approval. However, that pre-approval is based on what you tell Rocket. So,
Right.
you plug in and you say, yep, I have an 800 credit score. I make $1 million a year, this, and this. They'll say, okay, that sounds about right. However, it's not necessarily a human being like myself reviewing that information and asking questions,
Correct.
getting documents like pay stub. You tell me
Deep dive.
it's not as deep of a dive
Yeah.
as somebody like me. Also, when you get to the point that you have to provide documentation, pay stubs, bank statements, whatever the lender asks for, if you're not very tech savvy and so Rocket Mortgage, you need to upload everything online. You need to be a little bit more tech savvy. So somebody like myself, I'm local. If you need to bring me pay stubs or bring me a document, then I'll meet you. I'm local to Connecticut.
Right.
If I cover the four corners of Connecticut, so if you're in Greenwich, if you're up in the quiet corner, up in the northeast corner, wherever you need to be,
Right.
I'll meet you where you are. And so I think that it's very
Well, the reason I interrupted you and brought that up because a lot of people, as I say, they go online and they think they're getting someplace, but they aren't working with a real professional. And that's why I have you on, Katie, today, because working with a real professional makes a big difference.
It does.
And I'm gonna explain why from my side here as a realtor. And that is before we work with anybody, what do I need to have? If I work with a buyer?
Pre-approval letter.
Correct. So
you need to know what they're qualified for.
Correct. And so if I'm the listing agent and someone wants to buy it and then they were working with another realtor, and in their package is their pre-approval letter, but it's not from Katie from Cross Country Mortgage, it's from Rocket Mortgage. It's like, good Lord. Because it's exactly, I think it's very important to listen to what Katie just talked about. That you have to remember, they ask you a question, yeah, you fill it in. You ask you another question, you fill it in. Working with, they're going to spit something out. And it's not like working with Katie, because she's just not going to ask you a question. She's going to ask you for the documents. So when we work with Katie, we're actually getting a real solid pre-approval, and not a hopeful pre-approval.
Absolutely. And then another thing that I wanted to comment about, and this is not me picking on Rocket specifically, but online lenders in general.
Look, I could mention probably 10 others at the moment,
exactly.
but I'm not.
So with what I've heard about certain online lenders is a couple of things. One is you may not talk to the same person twice. I take that as an issue. I've heard from a past client is every time he called into this online lender, they pulled his credit and started over.
Oh gosh.
So by the time he came to me, he had 9 inquiries.
Wow.
From this particular lender. His credit score tanked by 100+ points.
Of course.
I pull it once. I can do a soft pull to get an idea of, what's going on.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut back in here. So if you're thinking of purchasing and you really don't know, but you don't want to affect your credit, because as soon as you pull it once and this whole thing, you mentioned a soft pull. Maybe that's a terminology somebody wouldn't be able to wouldn't understand.
So a soft pull gets me the information that I need. It gets me the credit score. It gets me the information in the body of your report, your payment history, without having a negative impact on your score. When I do a hard pull, it does ding your score by a couple of points. I start with a hard pull. And then I apologize. I start with a soft pull and then get you pre-approved. And as we move forward through the process, we do the hard pull later on. So if you think you have average credit and you're concerned about dinging your score, I do the soft pull first, no impact to the score, and then we move forward.
That's great. So with that, for buyers out there, because it's a great time to buy, no matter whatever the news is saying, ask me, because I'm the knowledge broker, and more so than our news that we're listening to. So regarding a buyer right now, for them to look at a property, the number one thing they need, as we said, is a pre-approval.
Correct.
So if they're a little wondering if they might have some blemish on their scores, or they really don't know, don't you really start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. For multiple reasons. One, if you're concerned about your credit, call me. I do the soft pull. We review the credit. If there are blemishes that will prevent you from moving forward, I will have a conversation with the buyer and make recommendations for how they can fix it.
Right.
It's never a no. It's never a permanent no. It might be a no for now. Let's fix your credit, and then we can move forward. So I do the soft pull, and then I can review your credit and make any necessary recommendations for repair.
Let me just go back to doing something online opposed to working with someone like you. Basically all the interest rates, everybody is working with the same rates. You can tweak your rates here and there, whatever. Pretty much everybody has the same rates. But there's fees. There's little fees, this fee, that fee. And it's the fees that kind of drive the difference of the pricing. And that is where also some of these online vendors, there's a lot of hidden things that don't come up until you're actually at the closing table.
Well, right. They won't. So my favorite is points. When you're in order to get an interest rate, there might be points involved where a buyer might have to pay to obtain a certain interest rate.
Right.
So a lot of these online lenders may not tell the borrower that there is points involved to get a particular rate until they go to lock in the interest rate. I
Right.
don't have to do that until about a week or so before closing. And at that point, you can't back out if you all of
Right.
a sudden have $5,000 in points. What are you going to do? You're 3/4 of the way through the process. You can't go find a new lender at that point.
Right.
I,
Right.
being a local human being who's honest with buyers, I tell them that information up front so they know going forward.
That's right. That's right. So with that, what would you say is your what you like most about being a mortgage broker?
What I like most is being honest with home buyers. A home is not just sticks and bricks. It's a place of safety, and that includes knowing that you can pay your housing expense every month.
Right.
So what I like most is getting a home buyer into the right product, the right mortgage product that works for them, that they're comfortable paying for. I don't pay for it, you don't pay for it, they do. So my favorite part is getting somebody into a home that they can own and that they can comfortably pay for and support their lifestyle. So whatever that might be. So I think that's my favorite part is educating home buyers on buying a home with a mortgage. Like
Right.
I would say, it's confusing, it's challenging, and I'm here to answer questions and have the buyers be comfortable with what they're getting into.
Well, Katie, anybody who has worked with you could vouch. You could read your testimonials. I mean, your See Online, her website
Mhm.
is attached in our thread here.
Mhm.
She really provides a lot for the consumer, and that's why I like working with her. She's always educating them, and part of the whole process is really making sure you're there for them,
Absolutely.
and that's where you are. So, matter if it's in Mystic, Greenwich, Tolland, or Danbury,
Mhm.
or in the
Mhm.
pile in the middle,
Yeah, yeah.
Katie can do that. What would you say? Okay, so I'm just going to ask you one more
Sure.
question, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to do this again, if that's all right with
Absolutely.
you.
I would love
But
to.
I guess if you had one tip for a first-time home buyer,
Mhm.
or I don't even want to say a first-time home buyer, because somebody
Mhm.
could be living in their house for 30 years and real estate and mortgages have changed.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
Oh, 100%.
I'm taking a first-time home buyer to even somebody looking at investment. I mean,
Mhm.
what would be some sort of words of advice that you would provide for them? Again, matter if it's
Absolutely.
the beginner or somebody who's just been in their home for 30 years and have no clue
Yeah. Yeah,
how to begin.
absolutely. I guess my biggest piece of advice would be to anybody, as soon as the thought pops into your head that you want to buy a home, regardless of whatever the situation is, first time home buyer, investor, you've lived in your house a million years and you decide that you want to upsize, downsize, whatever. As soon as the thought pops into your head that you would like to buy a home with a mortgage, call me. As
Right.
soon as the thought pops into your head, call me and we'll have a conversation to go over your specific scenario. Everybody's situation is a little bit different. So as soon as the thought pops into your head, just call me and we'll have a conversation and
And I
see where
think
it takes
that's
us.
the best advice that you can really give, because just thinking about something, or driving by and saying, why didn't I buy that? Or I should
Yeah.
have. And we're in this world now that, oh, we should have. Oh my God, I
Coulda,
could
woulda,
have.
shoulda.
Right. But see, calling Katie, you could
Yeah.
maybe make your dream a reality. So,
Absolutely.
well, Katie, I just want
Absolutely.
to thank you, again, for all
Absolutely.
your words of wisdom. And
Of course.
I will have you back on my lovely show here.
Wonderful. I would love
And
that.
yeah, well, thank you so much. And for everybody out there, again, if you have any questions, or if you can't find this video, or you didn't write Katie's number down, please make sure
Right
that
on the bottom of my screen,
Here
right
it is.
there.
Make sure you reach out to me. I can connect you. But again, I can't thank you enough. So here's your
My
big
pleasure.
hug.
Big hug, big hug. Absolutely.
Okay. Everybody have a great day.
All right. Thank you.